back to Channel 7 News. This is your host, Drew Shekel. I'm here with my partner, Ben Ryder. It was reported today that BP had a minor accident on their oil rig in the Gulf today.
Yeah, Drew, I guess they had a fire or something today. Thankfully, Jackson was able to get down there and give us a better report on it.
Yeah, buddy. There was a fire and an explosion on board the oil rig today, owned by Transocean and leased by BP. So yes, Drew, they did have a minor accident today. As a matter of fact, I might even call the event catastrophic, because the rig is currently up in flames. Currently, the U.S. Coast Guard is out there surrounding the rig, attempting to put out the flames. We'll have more reports in the next couple of days, updating you on what's going on with it. We're hoping everyone will be all right, and we will keep those in our thoughts that were on board. Well, good afternoon, sir. How are you doing today? Did you happen to see anything or hear anything that happened to the Deepwater Horizon oil rig? There was an explosion.
Well, thank you, sir. I'm doing well. I was out catching crawfish, as I normally am around these fine parts, and all of a sudden my crew member, Stanley, shouted out to me, "Holy mackerel, Jimmy, you got to see this." So I ran out onto the poop deck, and by golly, I had never seen such a large cloud of black smoke in my entire life. My radio started going off about evacuating from the area, and before you could say tuna, we were back in the port drinking some ice cold ones.
Well, that's a crazy story if I've ever heard it. We're going to send it back to the studio for more information now.
Welcome back to Gulf Channel 7 News. This is your anchor, Ben Ryder, here with Drew Shekel. Jackson has some new updated reports on us from that BP oil spill that happened the other day.
Well, butter my biscuit, Ben, that is right. We will send it down to him right now for more information on this catastrophic accident.
Well, Drew, it truly is a catastrophe, as this morning BP reported that there were a total of 126 members on board. We know that there were 79 workers from Transocean, 40 separate contractors, and 7 BP workers. Of the 126, currently 17 are in the hospital being treated for serious injuries, and 11 have been presumed dead. RIP to them, though. The interesting part about this whole thing is that BP was telling me that yesterday their employees were on board celebrating drilling for 7 years without an accident. The true cause of this explosion is to be determined still, and we'll have reports in the coming days on that. This is a breaking news alert from Gulf Channel 7 News. This morning, at about 10:21, the oil rig collapsed and sank. The Coast Guard earlier this morning reported that they currently believe there are about 8,000 barrels of leaking oil per day. This is the biggest concern right now, as the oil has not stopped leaking and the damage could potentially be disastrous. BP did send down rovers to attempt to close off the well, but the rovers failed. The Environmental Protection Agency released 100,000 gallons of dispersants into the ocean to try and break up the oil into smaller particles.
Jackson has a live report this morning on the BP oil spill. And Drew, I think you're going to get a kick out of it.
Yes, sirree, I am. Jackson, what do you have for us?
Well, Drew, make sure you keep those ears perked, because this news is daggum stupid. Well, guys, Tony Hayward, the chief executive at BP, came out this morning making the statement calling the oil spill relatively tiny compared to the size of the ocean. I don't know what the hell he was thinking, because if you ask me, that is quite the bold statement. But anyways, BP did release how the explosion occurred. It was a blast of natural gas that busted through a concrete core installed to seal the well off. After it broke through, the crew attempted to activate the blowout preventer, which is used to close off the seal so no more oil comes out and the damage is minimized, but the preventer failed. The seal that broke was made and installed by Halliburton, so in the coming weeks I'm sure we'll hear more about that.
We just received a word from Jackson that the oil spill in the Gulf has finally been closed off.
Well, it's about dadgum time they closed that damn thing off.
Darn tootin'. We'll send it out to Jackson here for more information on it.
Yeah, guys, this morning, 87 days after the initial explosion, officials were finally able to close off the leaking oil well. They were able to close it off by pumping cement into the well and putting a cap over it. It was officially announced that about 134 million gallons of oil spilled into the Gulf. That is more oil than a Sunday dinner of gumbo. So I don't know what Tony Hayward was thinking.
We have just received some additional information regarding more details about the BP oil spill.
Hopefully, after covering this story for quite a long time, we can finally get some clarity to the situation. We'll send it out to Jackson for an update on more.
That's right, y'all. I spoke with a representative from BP and a representative from the Oil Spill Commission and was informed of the full details of the causes of the spill. Apparently, there were 6 major contributing factors to the spill. In no particular level of importance or order, here are the 6 factors. Small hole was obstructing the dirt circulation. Valves that prevent the cement backflow did not close. Poor cement quality. An incorrectly interpreted pressure test. Not monitoring rising oil and gas. And a fail-safe on the seabed wellhead that was unable to close. Hi, sir. How are you doing today? Do you mind discussing a little bit about the impact that the spill has on your local markets and the economy going on right now?
Well, I've been better, Jackson. This disaster has crippled local fish markets, wiped out a huge portion of this region's income, and we are just devastated by this event and wish there was more done to prevent it. Given all the facts and all that's come out over the last few months, I hope we can see this issue resolved real quick so we can get back to our normal way of life.
Well, we'll keep you in our thoughts and we'll hope that happens for y'all. For right now, we're going to send it back to the studio.
Back to Gulf Channel 7 News. This is your host, Ben Ryder, here with Huxley Prattville.
Well, daggum, Ben. Thanks for welcoming me to the show. The Department of Justice filed a lawsuit today alleging that British Petroleum, Transocean, and Halliburton were negligent in response to this Deepwater Horizon oil spill this past spring.
That's right, Huxley. The DOJ is filing a civil suit claiming violations of the Clean Water Act, as well as a criminal suit that involves 11 counts of manslaughter.
We'll now send it out to our legal expert, Whitaker, for some more specifics.
Thanks, Huxley. Among the DOJ's claims against BP are those of willful misconduct and gross negligence. Gross negligence is defined as a reckless disregard for others' safety, so much so that it appears to be a conscious violation of others' rights to safety. Willful misconduct takes place when an intentional act with disregard for an obvious risk and that makes it highly probable that harm will follow. The DOJ has claimed that BP had a culture of corporate recklessness that led to the blowout on the rig. Transocean's liability is that of negligent entrustment. Negligent entrustment occurs when the owner of the property, Transocean in this case, is liable for negligently providing another party, BP, with dangerous instrumentality. Back to you in the studio.
We just received word that the verdict on the criminal trial against BP has reached a conclusion.
Yes, sir. Initial reports indicate that BP has now pled guilty to 14 counts of criminal charges, including manslaughter. BP has also been banned from taking on federal contracts for the near future. And BP is also required to pay up $4 billion in damages.
The court's decision today marks the beginning of this problem for BP, not the end. The civil trial for BP is still yet to enter the courtroom, and as this saga continues, this could become more costly for BP. Executives at BP can breathe a big sigh of relief, however, because they will not be required to serve any jail time for their role in this incident. This is because there is no jail time associated with civil trials, which is what the next phase of this case will be. The civil trial in this case is a 3-part court case. The first part of the case is to assign blame, the second part to determine the size of the spill, and the third to decide on punishment. It should be interesting to see how costly this ends up being.
We recently acquired more information on the oil spill. The first part of the BP civil trial came to conclusion today as Judge Carl Barbier assigned blame for the Deepwater Horizon oil spill.
That's right. Judge Barbier ruled that 67% of the blame now falls on BP, 30% on Transocean, and 3% on Halliburton.
Man, I sure wouldn't want to be BP. The judge reasserted his claim that BP was reckless in prioritizing saving time and money over safety.
The case will now move into the second phase, as the courts will attempt to estimate the amount of oil spilled.
Judge Barbier reached a decision today on how much oil was spilled into the ocean.
That's right, Huxley. Today the judge ruled that there were 4.2 million barrels of oil spilled over a period of only 87 days.
BP has publicly disagreed with this number and has already stated that it plans to appeal this number on the higher courts.
We will now go to our legal expert, Whitaker, for more.
Thanks, Ben. As the lawyers and cleanup costs for BP continue to pile up, you have to wonder if BP is thinking settlement at this point in the case. The courts have shown they do not have much mercy for BP, and a settlement might be a way to stop the bleeding. We will continue to have more updates as this case proceeds.
Breaking news here. We're hearing reports that BP and the DOJ have reached a settlement.
That's right, Huxley. Initial reports indicate that the settlement was finalized at a total of $18.7 billion. This settles claims of the U.S. government, as well as several local and state governments, including Florida, Louisiana, go Tigers, and Alabama. We are going to our county expert, Fred Wallace, to determine just how much this oil spill ended up costing BP.
When you account for all the legal fees, it is estimated that this oil spill has cost BP $144.89 billion. This includes settlement fees, legal fees, criminal fines, and cleanup costs. That would make this the most costly oil spill in U.S. history. Wow, truly an awful event. We now go to our marine biology expert, Santiago Salinas, who's really into fish apparently, to determine the effects of this spill on the ecosystem.
Thanks, Huxley. By my estimates, this spill led to the deaths of as many as 105,400 seabirds, 7,600 adult, and 160,000 juvenile sea turtles, and up to a 51% decrease in dolphins in Louisiana's Barataria Bay. The spill has had a major effect on the fishing and tourism industries in the area as well. The one thing we can say for sure, however, is the spill had a permanent impact on the surrounding ecosystem.